This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Ray's Movers and Self-Storage, offering storage solutions and all your moving needs. The Green Witch Juice Bar and Cafe for delicious, natural foods, smoothies, and juices.
Well, with us today, we have some amazing people with the Gary Shakespeare Company, and we have Brandon Hearn, who is the director of Othello, Mark Baer, who's the text coach and playing the part of Brabantio. I have Trish Neary, who's playing Montano, and Jalen Halliburton, who's the assistant director for Othello. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Hi.
So why don't we start with each of you kind of introducing a little bit about yourself, what part you're playing or what you're doing with the show, and a little bit about who you are.
Okay.
We'll start with, Brandon.
I'll go first. I'm the director. So a little about myself. I just finished my graduate degree. I'm so excited about that. And this project was actually inspired by one of the classes that I took with Mark Baer, who was a Directing 3 class, and the topic was Shakespeare. So it was something that I was interested in, and then the opportunity came for me to do the full-out show, and I just jumped on it. Personally, I am a Gary native, and so Gary Shakespeare means a lot to me because it's something for the city, about the city. So that's a little bit about me.
Wonderful. Trish.
Hi, I'm Trish. I've been doing community theater in Northwest Indiana for about 10 years now. It's unbelievable. As a matter of fact, the very first show I did was a Shakespeare show. It was A Midsummer Night's Dream at Crown Point Community Theater. We set it in the 50s. I've done a couple other Shakespeare shows since then, including Hamlet, The Taming of the Shrew. This is my second time actually doing Othello. I was in Othello in 2010 when Crown Point Community Theater did it, and Chong and Bridget Cho, and I know them, Chong and Bridget Cho directed it. I am an alumna of IUN, so it's great to be back here at my old stomping grounds. I'm an English major, so yeah, Shakespeare's in my DNA.
Perfect. Jalen, tell us about you.
Well, I'm also a Gary native. Performing arts has pretty much been my whole life. I've done everything pretty much from choir to theater acting to even learning to play piano, and I enjoy it all tremendously. This is my third year with the Gary Shakespeare Company, and I'm so excited to be working on this production. I'm so grateful that I was actually given the position to be in authority with Brandon. This year has been pretty much about me going into more behind the scenes territory and learning to take on more leadership roles. So I've been very excited to have these opportunities this year. My number one goal is definitely to be an actor, and my inspiration is Tyler Perry, whom I absolutely adore his work, and it's my lifelong goal to work with him. This year coming up will be my final year, so I'm so excited about that.
I'll bet you are. And Mark, tell us about you and your role with Gary Shakespeare.
Hi. Well, I teach. I'm an associate professor here at Indiana University Northwest, and was part of the original group that founded Gary Shakespeare Company in 2013. So it's been a real honor to be part of the growth of this company, and I think this is our 7th production. Is that right?
Yeah.
So six summers of free Shakespeare in Northwest Indiana. We are very excited to be able to pass the torch to a new director this summer, and to be sharing this story, which I feel like is really intense and relevant for right now.
So tell us a little bit about Othello for those of us who are not familiar with it.
Okay, so the show is centered around a general. His name is Othello, and he is a Moor, which is a black man. So the Moors were a group of people who were out in Africa that he was brought into slavery, and through his slavery trials, he somehow ended up into the army, and then worked his way up until he became general and earned his freedom. He is then given the opportunity to hire someone else as his lieutenant. And there is a man by the name of Iago, who is his ancient, which is kind of similar to like a lower level army lower army person. He's just like a servant, pretty much.
A standard bearer.
A standard bearer.
That's right.
Exactly. And he is wanting the lieutenant's position, and Othello chooses Cassio, who is a fresh out of the military school. He's in Florentine, and he's very mathematic. He doesn't really have that much experience, Iago feels. And because of that decision, Iago decides to take down Othello using any means he can, which happens to be his best friend, who was Cassio, and his wife, Desdemona.
Yeah.
So I'm taking this as not one of Shakespeare's comedies.
No.
Got
It might be, Shakespeare's, it's hard to say this, but almost his most evil character.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Iago is calculating and diabolical and uses the insecurities and the racism of everyone else around Othello to seed doubt and deception, and ultimately really drive Othello to do, to make mistakes. Yeah.
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 And he's very lucky, because anytime he says something, it's like it just falls into his lap. I'm going to make Cassio tuned out of Othello's ear. Then Cassio gets into a fight, and now Othello throws him away. Well, I'm going to make his wife turn towards him, and then his wife is annoying to him. He's just like a magician. He just says something, and bam, it happens.
Yeah. That's
One of the
great.
most luckiest villains, I would say.
Is there any sword fighting in this?
So we said it in the 90s,
Oh.
but there are a couple of knife fights.
There's,
Okay.
yeah, there's some knife fighting. I get to do stage combat for, well, not quite the first time, but it's most serious for the first time. When I did August Osage County, I got to beat somebody up with a frying pan.
Just a little bit different.
Yeah.
A little bit different.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So when is this performance going to be, and where can people come and see it, and how much does it cost, and all that good stuff?
Right. Well, we open at the Gary Public Library downtown August 20th. That's our only ticketed performance. It's an opening night gala. Tickets are $20, and we raise some money to kind of get the fundraising started for the year. All the performances after that are free of charge, and we just pass the hat at intermission. And that's something we're really proud of, that we take the show. I think we have 13 performances in 8 or 9 different venues this year, and we take our show to a park. We set up. Some folks plan to be there, and others just kind of happen by and have a seat, and we perform, and people appreciate what we do and support us enough to make another one next year.
That's perfect. So
July 20th.
July 20th is the grand opening. And how do people get tickets, and how can they find out where all of these performances are going to take place?
GaryShakesCo.org, right?
That's right. GaryShakesCo.org. You can just Google Gary Shakespeare Company. It comes up as
Okay,
the
perfect.
top list.
And one thing I like about our performances is that, yes, we do 13 shows over 9 different venues, but Gary is where we have dedicated our heart to performing, because we feel that is where we are most giving and providing, as if we do it in the city we reside in.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. And so all of these performances are at different venues?
Different venues. So, like I said, we open at the public library. We perform multiple times in Marquette Park, down on the beach of Lake Michigan, right?
Beautiful.
So, gorgeous venue down there. We've added several new venues this year. We're performing in Cedar Lake and
Valpo.
And Ogden Gardens in Valpo is another
Beautiful.
new Founders
Coffee
Square
Creek.
and Portage.
Oh, excellent.
Coffee Creek, the watershed park.
Nice, in Chesterton. Perfect. And how long of a performance is it? How long will people be there to see the performance?
We're open for 90 minutes.
About 90 minutes? Perfect. And is there a set time that it starts, or is it different times at different venues?
We always start at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
We always start at 7 o'clock, yeah.
So you're looking at an easy, 2 hours of entertainment, good fun, gives you time to get there, set up, see it,
Exactly.
and get some wonderful, amazing talent up there on the stage. And I had the joy of working with a lot of the people who are a part of this organization, and I've gotten to see almost everybody who's a part of this organization, and I know how terrific you guys all are. Any parting words you'd like to leave for our listeners?
Well, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's a magical night. Sitting outside, watching the sun go down behind the show, and experiencing these words spoken loud and full-throatedly out in nature it's just one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Yes, and if people haven't had an opportunity to experience Shakespeare, everybody has to do that at least once, and I can't think of a better place or better group of people to do it for the first time also.
Yeah.
So get out there and go see this wonderful show, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming out and doing this show and letting everybody know about this wonderful project that's coming up starting in August.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Ray's Movers and Self-Storage, offering storage solutions and all your moving needs. The Green Witch Juice Bar and Cafe for delicious, natural foods, smoothies, and juices.